Morning, all. All right, starting things off with a really quick news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Thursday, February the 20th. Tonight's the night. USA versus Canada, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. And then the tournament's done and we go back to the NHL's regular season. I think this tournament's been a rousing success for the NHL at a level they could not have imagined. It is going to make the league a ton of money. So for anybody who's like, well, I don't know if the salary cap's going to go up by that much. These tournaments are going to generate a lot of money. It's going to make the salary cap go up. So, and I mean through various revenues, and it's definitely driven strong ratings, which means ad rates go higher for the networks carrying it. So everybody's doing well with this tournament, and of course ticket prices are going to be high. So either way, the NHL's made a lot of money, and that rounds out tonight. And then it's going to get interesting this weekend to see whether any of that interest sticks around. Because getting the interest over, cheering for your country is one thing, but getting that interest for club games, not necessarily there. One example I would use is that as a fan of watching soccer, or if you're European, football, I enjoy the World Cup a lot, but I don't really get into the league stuff. So the World Cup, I love the World Cup. I'll watch every single game of a World Cup, and then when it's done, well, I'll see soccer again in 4 years. And there may very well be fans of hockey who have that same reaction, that tonight's game will generate this ton of interest, and then, well, we'll see what they do when the World Cup comes back in, say, 2028. And then some of those fans will come back for the World Cup. So that's the plan anyways. World Cup in 2028. Olympics, of course, next year. And with every passing tournament, it won't feel the same. It won't feel quite as special. We won't have gone through as much time in between tournaments. That's the nature of the beast. Anyways, looking at some lineup news, Seth Jarvis is in for Team Canada tonight. Travis Konechny's out. Really, for Canada, they've got to strike early, but they have to be better at protecting leads than what they've been in this tournament. Protecting leads has been an issue against Sweden, against Finland late, and of course they had the lead early against the U.S., couldn't hold it. For the Americans, McAvoy's the only one that's out, so Quinn Hughes is not flying to Boston. He's not going to be playing tonight. Canuck fans are happy about this because he's not medically cleared to play. I find this strange that a player is not medically cleared to play an NHL game, but they could fly to Boston and represent their country in a tournament that's very physical, more physical than any game the Canucks might play this weekend. So it's strange that these players who would not be medically cleared to play in an NHL game could be cleared to play at Four Nations. And yeah, we'll see how many guys come out of this tournament and they're like, oh yeah, no, I can't play for my team because I hurt my shoulder. I played through it, but yeah, I need some rest. Anyways, that being said, getting into potential trade news, Seth Jones talking to the Chicago Blackhawks and understanding that his contract makes it difficult to trade him, but he's talking to the Blackhawks about the possibility of a trade. He wants a chance to win. I remember when he signed that contract with Chicago, the Blackhawks at the time felt like, we might be able to turn things around. We've got some guys here that we feel like we could build with. And then it just quickly was obvious that wasn't going to work, so they went into the rebuild. So we'll see if Seth Jones gets moved and how much money Chicago would have to retain on that contract to make it work. But if he wants a chance to win a Stanley Cup over the short term, he would have to do that somewhere else. There will be some general managers, I would think, that would call. They will not want that entire contract, though, so that's where things get a little bit dicey. But let me know your thoughts. Where do you think Seth Jones ends up? Which of the contending teams do you think? If there's let's say 50% retention by Chicago, which team do you think should pick him up at half the cost? That kind of thing, right? Maybe a third team gets involved. Maybe it's 25% of the cost. That's going to happen around trade deadline too. Trade deadline, just a couple of weeks off now. So one thing that's going to be interesting again this weekend is there's 14 NHL games on Saturday. I'll be watching all 14 of them. That's the rule I provided for myself years ago. I watch as much of the hockey as I can. And then there's 10 games on Sunday. So the NHL in their scheduling, looking at just the fact there's not a whole lot of time left to get the games in before the season ends on April 17th, teams are going to be very busy. And looking at this tournament now, so if you've got, players that are banged up coming back to your club, Florida should at least be a little bit concerned because they had, I think, 8 players go to this thing. So the odds of all of them coming back, fine. probably less than 100%. But at any rate, yeah, there's going to be very, very busy for players that are hurt. They're going to miss more games because it is a very busy schedule from here. And yeah, the sprint resumes on Saturday and on Sunday. Although on Monday, I think there's only 3 games that day. I also wanted to throw this on the board just for fun because I do see people commenting in the comment section here and there with, can't wait for meetups to start. Meetups will start likely in May. It's usually May where they get started because we have them on weekends, and the weekends are kind of full. This weekend being a good example when it comes to NHL hockey. And also, the weather doesn't usually become agreeable to having any kind of an outdoor street hockey game until usually around May, and it has to match up with the schedule as well. Maybe it'll be late April. Maybe it'll be between the end of the regular season and the start of the playoffs. That's worked before. But either way, it is less than 3 months until meetup season. And if you're looking for a jersey to wear to said meetups, right now the NHL site, NHL Shop Canada on the Canadian side, I know they've got some jerseys for $50 right now. These are the Adidas ones. So yeah, it's like when Reeboks were going out and they were all down to like $20, $25. I've seen some Adidas for cheap prices. Cool Hockey's still selling them for $125, and it only costs $25 to get a name and number on the back of the Adidas right now because they want to get them out the door. So just throwing that out there as 2 options if you're looking to acquire a jersey without giving up more money than you'd like to. There you go. But it is definitely liquidate Adidas. And it is that time, the same as it was with liquidating the Reeboks when the Adidas came in. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. I am toying with the idea of doing a actual just preview video tomorrow since there's 24 games on the weekend, but we'll see. But let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.